So Doug Cross here live from the Gerald McGavin Rugby Pavilion at UBC Wolfson Fields in Vancouver, British Columbia. Bringing you action between the under-18 teams of Quebec and Saskatchewan. Running down these lineups for Saskatchewan, Sydney Napper in the front row with Anna Poirier and Nicole Dupuis. Mac Grad and Lexi Grad, a sister partnership in the second row. You don't see that much happening. Sarah Hepner and Tyra Tukachik, along with Gabby Sent, are in the back row. And Julia Folk is the scrum half, fly half Peyton Kuster, and Sarah Enerson is on one wing. On the other wing, Mary Anglo. In the centers, Chelsea Broadhead, Jolie Meyer, and Cassidy Schmidt is the fullback. As Saskatchewan has yet to come out, now they've had their cheer. In the Quebec team, it's Delphine Langevin, Michelle Blair, and not sure who the prop is. They've just crossed out. That's number 3. We'll see who lines up at the prop spot. Brittany Guy in the second row, along with Angela Attar. Fanfinette Buissa, Fabiola Forteza, and Miranda Sample make up the back row. Jessica Jubarn and Anne-Laurence Harvey, scrum half, fly half pairing. Victoria Petch and Vanessa Petch, so another sister pairing. A double set of sister pairings side by side in this game. That's kind of a unique situation as Saskatchewan knocks that ball on. On one wing is Catherine Boudreau, the other wing is Elizabeth Boudreau, so I think another set of sisters. My goodness, we're going to have to write about this in Rugby CA magazine. And Rebecca Brennan's the fullback, Michelle Day off the bench, Kira Ramirez, Jamie Lee Deschênes, Victoria LeBlanc, Vanessa Angus, Elizabeth Harvey, and Sarah Kaladijian, Daphne Sierra Morin, and Charlotte Matthews as well. And looking at the referee, that is Michael Jones out there running the show, along with Parsonage and Hems as assistant referees. Just after 12 o'clock in the afternoon here in British Columbia. And obviously later everywhere else in the country. And I just managed to knock over a bottle of water there. Oh, well. Quebec with that ball in hand now. Very sharp kit Quebec wearing in the sky blue, playing left to right. Saskatchewan in their telltale colors, pouring over the top and leaving their feet at the breakdown, says Jones. They'll retreat 10 meters. So the flanker, Tyra Tukachik, sorry, that's for Saskatchewan. Fabiola Forteza will give this kick, hopefully to touch. She has not found touch, but a knock on by Saskatchewan will give Quebec a scrum inside Saskatchewan territory. So as I've reported in earlier games, the weather couldn't be more superb out here. We haven't had a cloud, a hint of rain or anything the whole time we've been here, but the temperature's not oppressively hot, around 24 or 25 as Quebec controls this scrum. Tight spin pass from the scrum half. There's Jessica Jubarn. Now that ball getting down the line. Oh, and a big tackle on the fullback, and she's hurt. And going down hard was Rebecca Brannon, and she might need some assistance. She's getting up. Oh, look, she must have just gotten the wind knocked out of her, but a big tackle on her. Knock on the call by Jones. So Saskatchewan will have the put in, and Julia Folk, wearing number 9, is the scrum half for the Prairie Girls, and they will put this ball in and see if they can organize a bit of an attack. Early going, Quebec has shown well. Remember, Quebec winning the National Women's League earlier this summer at this very facility, and showing well indeed with the organized coaching coming out of Quebec. Very good job. Saskatchewan driving into the line now, switch inside. Some heavy contact in there at the breakdown. Porter swinging it left. Pick and drive, and now getting it down the line. Saskatchewan doing some good work past the gain line. Porter now will swing it right. That's to her fly half, Peyton Kuster. Inside center's Chelsea Broadhead. She's gone to ground. Porter, quick offload. They're doing well now. There's a bit of a break. Quebec can't seem to bring these Saskatchewan girls down. Flinging it back inside. Driving past the 22-meter line. Saskatchewan keeping that ball off the ground. Now it's gone to deck. Porter swinging it left now. Delayed pass, missed one. That's Broadhead again. Now Jones saying not releasing once she was tackled. Broadhead had to let go of that ball right away, and she did not. For that, Saskatchewan will retreat 10 meters, and Quebec will try and ride this into touch. Quebec coach offering up a target. Now that nearly didn't get into touch and nearly lost them a couple of meters. So I could see why the coach maybe was offering a target, because that was certainly not what he was looking for in terms of pressure relief, as Quebec has retreated some 8 to 10 meters now from their own clearance kick. Number 2, Michelle Blair throwing in for Quebec. Saskatchewan's come away with it. Now, big blast of the whistle from Jones. Quick tap. She was engaged within the 10 meters, and so advantage will be played for that. Saskatchewan pressuring hard. Now that's the hooker, Anna Poirier of Saskatchewan. I'm telling you, the Saskatchewan players got more French names than the Quebec players do. Ball goes to ground. Mistake, but they'll come back for the penalty. Offside. Quebec very good at communicating, saying everyone back to the line, back to the line. So they've got to retreat to their own goal line, and now will Saskatchewan maybe ask for the scrum, or they're just going to do a set move. Looks like a set move is what's happening here. As Porter gets the ball in motion. Big first up tackle on the second row, Lexi Grad. Oh, and Saskatchewan will score there. I want to say that's Porter, the scrum half. I'm not sure. So Saskatchewan with the early 5-0 lead here.
Well, there you go. Gotta like that.
I'm in trouble picking up the numbers on Saskatchewan's jerseys. They're kind of blending in for colorblind announcer here. What number is taking that kick now? Oh, it's 11, is it? Yeah, okay, there we go. Catherine Bedreau, sorry, that's from Quebec. Sarah Anderson getting that one across. Julia Folk scoring the try and Anderson adding the extras. Quebec will restart this. Some French cheers coming and chants coming from the under 16 girls there. And now a penalty against Saskatchewan has them cheering on their older teammates. So set move now going to be put into place here by Jessica Joubin. Threatening the line now. They might be across in a moment. Held up, I think Jones is indicating. Saskatchewan clapping the job well done that the ball was held up. So it'll be a scrum 5. Still with Quebec and the put in. Saskatchewan trying to relieve pressure down from inside their own goal area. That's a decent kick down the field, and the trio of would-be Saskatchewan tacklers missed the target. Quebec player got flattened after the fact. Ball flinging hard. Oh, huge tackle put in by Quebec on the Saskatchewan ball carrier, and she is going to feel that for a few minutes. Cloud like a prairie dust storm coming up from that tackle. Pick and drive. Saskatchewan very adept at getting that ball off the ground. Now Quebec has stolen it, but not before not rolling away penalty. Julia Folk, the scrum half, is going to get her teammate, likely Anderson, to give that a kick into touch. It makes it just. So it'll be line out for Saskatchewan. 10 minutes gone in this first half. Interestingly, Folk does the throwing in for Saskatchewan. Quebec has taken that. That is Jessica Joubin with it. She'll spin that out now. Oh, and Quebec has gone past the gain line. There's some pace. Quebec really getting the work done in tight. Now spinning it back right. Oh, and there's a nice break. Oh, it slips out of another tackle. Quebec will score. Just trying to pick up what number that might have been. Maybe the inside center, Victoria Petch. Number 10. Anne-Laurence Harvey scoring that one. She'll be taking the kick afterwards, so great job by her. Oh, and she's missed the sitter conversion, and she kind of clapped her hand on her head. That score will stay 7-5 and or 5-5, sorry, because Saskatchewan missed their conversion as well. So now I have 7. But the official scoreboard keeper has got 5, so I'm going to defer to him. I thought Saskatchewan had made the conversion off of their try. So we'll have to check and see if that score is right. But we'll, for the time being, to avoid controversy, call it 5-5. So a quick player change here. I think both sides have switched up some players here. It's the third day of the tournament. Players start fatiguing a little bit earlier and just feeling the bumps and bruises and the grind of playing that many games in a short amount of time. Spin pass drifting across the field there. It's Saskatchewan paying the price. Hard tackle out on the wing there. Boy, and Quebec just giving it back to Saskatchewan. Tackle for tackle. Now the long lob pass. Oh, and that's a great tackle around the shoulders. Tackles are a little bit high. I think both teams have got to lower that down just a touch. Now, Michael Jones blowing the whistle. Rolling away in the tackle again. Quebec finds touch. Clean take in the line. Distribution by Joubert. Saskatchewan fighting their way to within 5 meters of this line now. Oh, ball goes to ground with the interruption tackle. Spinning it back, and now drop ball by Saskatchewan will stop proceedings. It'll be a scrum to Quebec. I'd like to say hello to all the folks from Saskatchewan and Quebec watching us this afternoon on YouTube Live. Check out nationalfestivalrugby.com for all the latest statistics, standings, match results, and future matchups. As we head into playoff day, at the end of the day, you'll want to check and see who's playing whom on Saturday. And I'm sure I said that wrong and someone will get me grammatically, but I will take my chances. Quebec got to get that ball in that scrum, crabbing around. A pick from the back of the scrum, trying to drive upfield, immediately held up. Saskatchewan doing a good job there. Oh, wrapped around the head, maybe an argument for a high tackle there. Kind of slow engagement between these two teams, though they both have shown that they have some speed on the outside, but this game just kind of getting stuck in the middle a little bit right now. Saskatchewan on the front foot. Folk. Folk clean service down the line. Coming in to the inside center spot. Victoria, actually Chelsea Broadhead. Now pick and drive by Saskatchewan. Twisting, spinning, trying to get out of the tackle to the left. Now, pass flung backwards to Peyton Kuster. Saskatchewan nearly getting away on the outside there. And now, a penalty against Quebec. They'll have to retreat to their own goal line. Saskatchewan. Just a simple play to the forwards. Looking for a recycle ball. Now Quebec almost killing that, leaving their feet. Another penalty potentially. Having trouble finding the handle, but they don't knock it on. Saskatchewan still a couple of meters shy of the line. Spinning it now well down the line, and that's going to be a try, maybe. Oh no, a couple meters short yet. That was a little early on that call. 3 Quebec players trying to bring that Saskatchewan player down. Oh, and now a try for Saskatchewan. Their second of the game. So I'd like to be able to tell you who that was, just too far away. Our position is about 35, 40, well, 35 yards anyway from the near touch line. Then you add that on to the distance that they're out from there. The odds of seeing who scored that become a little thin. As the score doubles to 10-5 for Saskatchewan. Now they got the kick to come. Remember, I feel like that conversion was made on the first try by Saskatchewan. So we'll have to talk to the official scorer because the scoreboard keeper may have missed it, but the official scorer may have that score correct. Oh, and that, honestly, a dismal kick there from Saskatchewan, 10-5. And Quebec, a very capable team. I think they've got the tools to get back in this game, but they've got to start showing some intent here. The restart as Saskatchewan taking the ball into contact. Saskatchewan doing well, recycling that ball. Pass just about went to no one, but Saskatchewan player getting there and keeping it safe. Loose ball, but a whistle will save any further pressure. So we're going to have another scrum here. Saskatchewan taking on Quebec in the battle of the 2 scrums. So, boy, I don't know what's going on with this scrum, but it has taken an age to get this together. You know, that's nearly a minute just standing around and talking and trying to figure something out. And honestly, Michael Jones and the players got to figure this out because that's a ridiculous delay. And now that ball is a mess back in that scrum. And now another whistle. Mistake-riddled game here. You know, we were showing some promise early on, but just a lot of drop balls and not very organized attacks. And this game has gone kind of static with 7 minutes left in this first half. Oh, my goodness. This is just, honestly, it's dreadful to watch when the scrums can't even set down like this. You think at the provincial level, things would be a bit higher standard. I think both coaches will be a little disappointed about how the forwards are performing right now. That's another one now, finally boring in, called on Quebec, and nearly engaging inside that 10-meter zone is a Quebec player. This water, the ball being spun tight. Saskatchewan trying to keep the ball alive there from the back of the scrum. Bit of a frenzied play, and now putting themselves under a bit of pressure as a result of that play. Got to get that ball back right. Saskatchewan player down, being seen to by physiotherapists, so they're technically short-handed right now. 14 on 15. Ball's come out. Saskatchewan needs to get that back. Good pressure put on by the Quebec forwards now. Breaking through. Now, Saskatchewan retaining possession pretty well. Shirking off one tackle. Now, another, trying to see who that is. That's number 8 for Saskatchewan, Gabby Sent. Ball into touch. Throw in results in a knock on. So it'll be scrum in 15. Saskatchewan's put in. Saskatchewan player coming on the field. Who will she replace, or is she just a player there short for a moment? Julia Folk will try and get this in. Another problematic scrum here. It's wheeled. They'll set it and have it again. This has got to be the 10th scrum they've attempted in this first half. Ball to the back foot of Saskatchewan. Running laterally now, drop ball. Just a typical example of the skill level right now between these two teams. It's just drop ball after drop ball, just no consistency. Quebec now with the ball in hand. That's going to be a knock on. So rarely more than a pass or two before the ball is dropped. Spin pass going out wide. Saskatchewan. I don't know if that was a knock on. I think that ball went back. Play continues. And that mercifully takes us to halftime, 10-5. These coaches better have a word with their teams because that was not much of a display at a provincial level under 18. Both teams need to sharpen their game up. We're going to take a quick break in the action and reset. The stream will stay live. We're just going to hang up the headphones for a moment, and we'll be back with more action in a moment. No one seems to be able to catch that ball out there. So, just so I have it right when I'm introducing you, what's your role with Quebec?
I'm the technical high performance. I don't know how to say that. How we can high performance
Capacity? Yeah.
high performance consultant. So just
Okay, I'll let you.
yeah, some I mean, they put me the coaching consultant, whatever, coaching consultant, high performance coaching consultant,
Okay.
which I know you're on that side.
Yeah, we'll stand up for.
And if you want a bit of background to me, I played professionally alongside Garrett in Europe and
Right.
in France, England.
And are you part of Eden Park as well?
I'm involved with Eden Park as well. Yeah, but that's not I mean you can mention
Yeah,
it, but
no,
the most
all
important thing
exciting
is
in context,
in
yeah.
relation to the context of
Yeah.
here. It's
Yeah.
more like I spent 17 years playing professional rugby.
Thank
so
you, yeah.
Gee, thanks. Professional rugby rather than selling clothes.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll wait until these guys have sort of broken up before we start going back live on
We
air.
do it in English as well.
Yeah.
I think just so
Yeah.
I spoke to them. They wanted, but I said it's a bit awkward if we start doing a bit of French, a bit of English, a bit
That's
of French.
right, yeah.
So we do it in English, and then we'll.
Or maybe when Quebec's getting ready to score a try, you can let it fly.
I can let it go. Par contre, I need a girl's name because.
Okay, so welcome back to Gerald McGavin Rugby Pavilion, and For those of you who've been listening all day, probably a little sick of my voice, I finally got a broadcast partner here in the form of Florent Rosigneau of the Quebec Rugby Union, and we'll talk a little bit about his background in a moment. But Quebec down 10-5, but not much of a game so far. The two teams kind of feeling each other out.
Yeah, a bit of neutralizing game here. I think Quebec should try to exploit a bit what they've got. They've got a good back line. They've got quite a bit of speed there, and so far they've been playing in the hands of the opposition by keeping the ball tight. In the other hand, you're right. There've been few enforced error, and quite a few enforced error would kind of break down that game down a bit.
Right. So Florent, in his role as a coaching consultant with Quebec Rugby Union, we'll talk about the National Women's League champions being Quebec this year in a moment. But as we have live action, Quebec taking that ball into contact, but Saskatchewan counter-rucking hard, and they might come away with that ball at the breakdown. No, it's a Quebec player still with the ball in hand. That's gone to ground now. And will Quebec just kick that possession away over the top to relieve the pressure? No, they're going to have a run from in behind their own 22-meter line. Looking at it, Sarah Kalajian. And now another penalty, this one for offside. And Florent, just a lot of penalties in this game. Is it lack of knowledge or lack of intent by the players to abide by the laws?
Yeah, I think a bit of an anticipation there from the Quebec team. They want to do well. They want to carry that ball forward. But I think they forget the simple game, which is probably to take that ball, take and kick long, get down the field, find a touch. Here they got a penalty, but maybe the better idea will be to play. I think it's, the game management there.
Bit of a break now. Great points there as Quebec finally making an attack, but that pass has gone loose. Staying Quebec side. Still a chance here, and that is the scrum half, Joubal. Oh, maybe getting on the outside now. Here's some pace. And some big tackles being put in by the girls from the Prairies. But Quebec showing a well-organized attack now, so maybe the halftime speech sinking in with these ladies. And Quebec threatening the line now, trying to pick up what number is that, number 8, Miranda Sample. And now Quebec being driven back by the defensive efforts of Saskatchewan, but that ball staying Quebec side. And maybe Florent, in his coaching role, sort of indicating they should be swinging it wide, but they keep it inside. And
a lot of space open out wide. You can see there is a 5-on-2
right.
there.
Yes.
They just got a pass, go.
And even there, poor choice. Now the pass has been made.
And it's a try, I think, that's there. Yes. Over the top, that's perfect, as I say, this game, they just need to concentrate the Prairie Girls down the ruck, suck them in and just find and explore the space. They've got a lot of space out wide. They've got a couple of sisters on the wing. They've shown really good
I think there's been a knock on, or at least there's a consultation here.
Oh, yeah.
I'll try, Given. Okay, so it was just time off for a moment. Yeah, let's talk about the sister act in here. There's two sets of sisters, Victoria and Vanessa Petch in the centers.
Centers, yes, and the two girls on the wing.
Yes,
Elizabeth
the Boudreaux.
Yes.
And then, but I don't know if you're aware of this, in Saskatchewan, two sisters in the second row side by side, Max Grad and Lexi Grad. So
yeah, that's perfect.
Three
keep
sets
the game
of
in
sisters. I mean,
keep the game in the family.
I don't want to see the travel bill for all these families taking their daughters to the game. That's.
But I can understand that, relate to that. I'm a twin brother of myself, so it's kind of a, you grow up and competing in the same thing of your sibling is quite an interesting moment. You get to put each other out as well.
Yeah.
I think you're always in competition for your spot, but I think you're also in competition with your sibling. Trying to outdo him all the time. So
That's
it's quite nice feeling. But no, that's great. I think if the Quebec girl can now just vision the games, like the way they've just done it, suck the defense in and just open wide, I'm sure we can get a bit of an open game.
So that I've made a mess here. It's 10-10 now, so that gets the scores up, right? So Quebec coming back from a 5-point deficit, and now it's a brand new ball game for both teams. Oh, Florent, your Canadian connection, because you're actually not from Quebec, but from France
Yeah,
originally.
yeah, I'm from
Uh,
France. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you played professionally alongside Canadian great Gareth Rees. Was that at London Wasps? Or?
Yeah, I did. Gareth and I know for a few years playing in France when he had that couple of years spell. You know, we played against each other when I was at Racing Club at the time, and then I moved to the UK to follow my professional career there, and we just kind of bump into each other again, and this time in the same team, and that's where the link between myself and Canada came up really, and. For the last few couple of years now, through Rugby Canada and Rugby Quebec, I've been consulting with with the French province in my capacity of being probably switching to French to English now. It's quite easy.
Yeah.
And working, trying to redevelop and rebuild some programs, some youth program there, which been kind of in a decline over the years. But over the last 3 years, I think we're starting to show that.
I think Quebec is very much on the ascendancy, and as we have another
Yeah.
break here, this could be just short of the line, but blue jerseys arriving in numbers. Can Quebec sustain this drive?
And one again, as long as they can keep the ball in those ruck, and it's turnover. I think
Yes, Saskatchewan has pinched that at the breakdown, and they're struggling to get rid of it. They want to just pelt that down the park, but instead they're trying to do it a meter at a time, which is the long, slow way of doing it.
Yeah, so we're trying to, going back to those programs, I think we're trying to rebuild those programs, and, we're trying to put in place coaching team. We can take the use of tomorrow or the use of today to the top level of tomorrow. And I think, the girls program's always been great. An offside position there, but the girls program always been working pretty well because obviously we've got some result there and quite a few girls working at the top level. But I think, in the year to come, you'll probably hear more about a few Quebec players making it to elite rugby in Canada.
Well, yes, I mean, we just think of some of the names that are playing in women's sevens and in women's 15s.
Yeah.
The sevens heading to the Olympics, but more importantly, winning the National Women's League was just a huge effort by Quebec at the recent championships held at this very ground.
Yeah, the women rugby has been ahead in that province because I think the structure was always self-contained and probably well profiled, and they get the result now. And you go through those youth team 18 level, there is like 3 or 4 good talent there. And Lowe at fly half is probably a good prospect for Rugby Canada, and the couple of sisters on the wing, even the center Fabiola is also a good prospect there. So I think it's just about carry on working with those young athletes, taking them to they're all multi-sport. Plurisportive. They arrive at 16 with not a great experience of rugby. You've got 4 years to manage them and get them to the top end, and I think the structure is there now.
Some pace here on the wing for Saskatchewan. Back in a moment with that thought as they offload, and this could be a try for Saskatchewan. Trying to drag her in down at the goal line, and try scored by Saskatchewan. I want to say that is the far wing, Mary Anglo. Possibly, and that was a great effort by her to outdistance the cover there, and so Saskatchewan back in the lead, 15-10 with the kick to come.
Yeah, a bit of a mistake there around the ruck. I think they let the player pick and make the first break, and without putting her down on the floor quick enough, she managed to get that offload to Mary, and she scored in the corner. That's perfect rugby, That's just supporting rugby, following the actions.
So I feel like rugby in Quebec has, really taken on it's been received very well by the media in Quebec, the French media and the English media. Players like John Phelan making the Canadian team get a lot of attention, plus all the women's sevens activity. And I think that all comes through a culture of winning and just being in the newspaper all the time with all the things that you're doing.
Like anything, you've got to have a window shop, if I can call it that. You've got to have something to show for, and I think you can't just expect your team to be performing without a background and an organization which just push behind. We've got, I think, in Quebec, like probably in most part of Canada, there is some good athletes there. We just got to drive them towards rugby. We've got to give them the best support we can to develop and flourish. And we can see, I think this year there is 2 young Quebecois on the under-20 teams, and good prospect for Canada. So I think we've got to carry on, and hopefully we'll see more and more of those guys, going through the system and recognized at the international level, because that's, I think, what is the objective of the province, to, not only to develop, but as you say, you need to show something for, and
Yes.
when you've got players playing for your country, I think it's an excellent result for any provinces.
And I think for Rugby Canada, this is Rugby Canada's shop window, showing 1,000 young athletes descending on Vancouver and playing so much great rugby here over a course of 5 days.
It's a perfect opportunity for those young athletes also to understand competition and to spike them up a bit, and to get out of that club rugby level. We sometimes have found, especially in Quebec, sometimes not offering the right environment for those guys to develop. So it's really perfect for them, and I just wish we can carry. Well, I know we'll carry on, but I think we can develop further and further and get great programs. Like you got in the rest of British Columbia, or maybe Ontario, Alberta. Where we can push them at the moment really close. We can't yet just win everything.
Right.
And the ambition is there.
So, Flo, tell me, life in Quebec, does it mirror your old life in France, or quite different?
I think we can't, we cousins somehow. So, and but I think I rely on good food certainly over there. So and there is a certain level of lifestyle which is very similar. They like sitting down, drinking a few beers, having a bit of wine. I'm discovering a new world, but it's quite entertaining to get to discover that new culture.
It's usually the trip is the other way around, a Canadian going to Europe and doing that, so it's great to see it come the other way, and all of us benefiting from your knowledge, and Gareth Rees helping to foster that relationship, and now you've become a big part of what Quebec does.
Yeah, no, that's a nice way, and I've always been a player. I've had this, let's say, this French culture of going abroad, and amongst playing in Australia and England, I've always been interesting to open my broaden my horizon, like we said, and discover other things. And as a coach, also for me, it's really interesting at the age I am to, I'm a young coach, 43, and I'm learning more and more by coming to a place like that, and it's both way really. You can't just say it's a nice moment. It's just both way. I take a lot out of that.
Right. How do you like spending some time out in BC? It's a pretty nice spot too, isn't it?
It's a nice spot, yeah. Not my first trip over here. I've been part of a couple of tours down back few years ago around here, but it's a nice spot. Obviously,
were you part of that Barbarians tour, French Barbarians?
No,
tour
I wasn't. I came over. I think I was with the public school Wanderers about 10 years ago, I reckon, and we just had a magnificent 2 weeks tour throughout Canada, and I do remember being here for a few days, been on the island for a few days as well. Alberta, I think, and Calgary. We played a bit of rugby in Banff as well. So it was a nice tour.
See it all the postcard spots.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was a well-defined tour by the public school Wanderers organizer at the time.
Yes.
But here the ball is for the Prairie Girls, and they seem to try also to go once again deep. The defense, the Quebec defense there, should go to be quicker to put down those attacking.
You don't want the rolling mauls and the ball being held up. Yes. So that's the scrum half, Julia Folk for Saskatchewan, going into contact. Now she's gotten that ball back. Oh, and a miscue there, and advantage being played. Quebec will try and keep that ball alive, and lots of space out wide as Florent is miming. Don't know if they're picking up on your hand signals.
Probably not, but I think they've started to feel that, that's the space there.
There we go, out to the outside edge. Now look at the pace on this little track star. She's done well and bundled into touch. Is that one of the Boudreaux and Elizabeth Boudreaux? Or?
I think that was Victoria Lebro, the scrum half, who just was on the 9 position, on the wing position there. But they should have
number 19.
Yeah, they should have moved that ball a bit quicker to the wing rather than getting for the contact again. Try to get the balls right in the hand of whoever was standing there, because the space was there. But another good pressure there by the Quebec team. Win back the ball on the line out.
The Quebec player was through that line pretty quick, right on the signal from the referee, I guess, that she could leave the line out. So we'll have another line out, and it'll be Saskatchewan throw-in, but Quebec putting the pressure on and Saskatchewan retreating into their in behind their own 22 as a back line.
But it's pretty much like Quebec should play. I mean, we don't have the biggest athlete in terms of size and weight or everything, and I think the game should be played around that, that passion of putting pressure on opposition to try to turn over ball, to try to use space wide, to try to make them move around the pitch, because it's always a harder challenge for heavier players to run around the pitch than a lighter and more athletic or tinier players. So we try to bring that culture of. I wouldn't say a bit similar to French kind of running rugby, but kind of this idea of use rather the ball to make the space and to make the field rather than using your physicality.
Mm-hmm. We saw a game like that with Alberta beating Ontario 2 in the U18 men's this morning, where not much was going on when Alberta had the ball in hand, but as soon as there was a mistake, boom, they're off like rabbits the other way, and really putting Ontario 2 under pressure and coming away with the win ultimately.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. I mean, the following game is going to be our Quebec boy U18 against Ontario again, and that'll be interesting to see if we can follow that philosophy I've just explained.
Yes.
I mean, yesterday they had a good result aside 12-10 against Alberta, which may be a possibility to win the game in the last 5 minutes. But we played that game. We played with that passion in defense, that ambition in defense, that that commitment to actually put pressure on bigger players to pass the ball in contact, and we got result for that. So hopefully we can see that. Even the contest, I think, going to be a bit uneven.
Forward pass by Saskatchewan here has an opportunity now for Quebec to have the scrum at just around the 22-meter line, and with lots of space out to the left of that scrum, we could see the Quebec speedsters, and we got number 20, Venetia Angus, and she looks like she could be a pretty quick runner.
Yeah, I mean, a good option there. We probably get Miranda Sampre, the number 8, to play down that blind side and try to find a winger. She's a quite athletic player. She likes running. She's kind of,
you
and
called
she's
it,
doing
Coach,
it.
Yes. Oh, she's wrapped up immediately, and the ball's gone loose.
Fantastic tackle there by the Saskatchewan team.
Trying to weave through the cover defense now past the gain line. Quebec working hard, but it's not coming easy, and counter-rucking may see that ball stolen.
Yeah, you see, when you go into those contact situations against heavier players, your technique's got to be impeccable, and there we were a bit too high, and we get turnover, put under pressure at least. I think we recover the ball now.
But being pushed back at the same time, possession, but losing yardage here.
Yeah, it's difficult also to play your passing game going backward. When you got the pressure of defensive line coming right in your face, so you've got to keep it going there. Good hands there. That's go on there outside there.
And that's one of the Petch sisters, I think Vanessa Petch there, and now getting it out wide to Venetia Angus. The front row, Delphine Langevin. Taking it in the line. How do you like my French pronunciation? It's not bad, huh?
Not bad. Good. So far,
Yeah, I mean, my most nervous one was Rossigny. I didn't know how that was going to come out.
You did very well with that, I can promise you I've heard not worse than
Some
that.
interesting versions of that, yeah. Rosignux.
Yeah. I went to Rossignol, the ski as well. It's been quite interesting over the year. Especially when you go down under or when you arrive in England, it's just like, oh, that's a bit complicated.
Yeah.
But obviously in Canada with a bit of a French in part of the country.
Yes.
I'm sure you come across a lot of French sometime on the players.
That's
names.
right. Yeah. So that's not much of a clearance kick from Saskatchewan. They picked up a meter or two. They'll have the line out, but they're going to have sharper clearance kicks than that. And, just moving it down the field a meter at a time is not the response. So maybe we'll see, a ground counter-attack here by Saskatchewan.
There was a good pressure moment by the Quebec team there. They just didn't capitalize on it. And I think they let themselves go a bit in terms of, tidy and to strike, make sure we get good possession. And here's Saskatchewan just cleanly win that ball, maul it, find a 10, and they only go forward. It's easy when the ball is in the right conditions.
Peyton Kuster going into the line. That ball comes back now for Folk. Spinning it left. And that first up tackling by Quebec is sharp. There is no free passes for Saskatchewan here on their own 22-meter line. Now a little action off the ball there, and some players getting thrown out of that ruck. Now first step manages to beat a tackler, but now to ground. Saskatchewan's going to have to deal with that, but now a penalty. The player not rolling away in the tackle from Quebec.
Yeah, and I think getting on the floor and trying to grab that ball off the floor with, illegally putting their hands in the ruck when it was totally formed. Yeah, they need to take the opportunity there. That might be one there. They've got a lot of space, finding the space through, going for a ruck again. I think they've got to move that ball away. We saw it earlier in the game. That was their salvation.
Now, just looking at the two back lines as they're set, there's no spatial awareness. I mean, you could throw a blanket over that whole group. They need to use more of the field, it looks like. Quebec done well to get back and help, but now a Saskatchewan player has pinched that ball. She was allowed to have at it, and she did. But going it alone, a little help might be warranted as the rolling maul has begun, and it looks like a big green iceberg flowing towards the Quebec goal line. Oh, man, smashing tackle as that ball came out. Might have been a bit of a head clash there, too, but Quebec now counterattack, and they've got something going out on that far wing. And just quick, sharp passes keeping the drive alive for Les Québécois.
Les Québécois, yeah, they're doing well there. A good recovery of the ball.
Whoa.
Here again, there's a smashing tackle.
Big tackles going on.
Still in control of the ball there. I think they've got to start using the ball wide here. There is a mismatch, definitely.
Oh, and who's that? What player is that? The big girl that just went in there. She's still got the ball. That's number 25. That's Charlotte Matthews. And she just drove the Saskatchewan girls back, and they had trouble bringing her down. But now the referee is calling a player over from Saskatchewan, the captain. And will he be reaching into his pocket for a card? We've seen a number of yellow cards for repeated infringements. I think this is going to be just a general conversation because there hasn't been a lot of those penalties.
Yeah, no, I think it's good practice there to warn the player. The game has been pretty clean so far, and I think it's a good practice to warn the team, and just rather than going straight for, it's a good game management there from our referee.
Yeah, Michael Jones probably pleased that usually when, and you've done this as a pro, you know, tell your team to stay on their feet, and absolutely no message has been given from the captain to the rest of the team. There they had a quick conference and determined what Jones is looking for.
Yeah, but as you say, you know, you get the message, but you probably always try to be at the limit to play with the rules as much as far as you can, and that's. But I think you've got to be aware. I think it's good for those young athletes at that level to start to respect the rules and to get in that pressure, under that pressure, or respecting the rule. The discipline is part of the professional game or the elite sport anyway. You have to understand the rule as much as you practice the sport.
It sounds a lot like my home life with 15 and 16-year-old boys where they know the rule, but they also go to the letter of the law and push those limits.
Performing athletes, aren't they?
Yes, exactly. Spinning that down now. Quebec has got a good chance here, but first up tackling from Saskatchewan is absorbing a lot of that pressure.
Yeah, and once again, there the option to penetrate the Saskatchewan defense rather than using that space out wide. I hope that'll pay off for them. But see again, there is a contact situation, and you can see about 3 or 4 green players just right on the top of the ball. Quebec players managed to secure that ball. Miranda.
Advantage being played here by Jones for Quebec. Remember, Saskatchewan leading this game 15-10. A converted try would put Quebec in the lead, so they're in a good place to score this try too, because conversion is going to be hugely important in this match.
Yeah, they work hard for it, and they should get the result for it. And I think Vic going to take the ball really quickly, try to find space. Yes, it's close to the line there.
And maybe held up. There's a lot of Saskatchewan players between the Quebec player and the try.
And there is still some space free on the outside there, hoping they can recycle, and the referee's just made a call
held
there.
up, or is he's called time off? There may be a penalty situation, yes, against Saskatchewan.
It might be the quick tap penalty, not been 10. Yeah, that's what the call from the referee here. Oh, it's a try just right on the line. It's fantastic recovery there.
So great job by Quebec. Sustained pressure finally pays off, and you think they'd won the whole tournament with their reaction. They've been chasing this game most of the morning and most of the afternoon, And so they're thrilled, and they want to get back and play more rugby as they've tied this up 15-all with the conversion kick to come.
Yeah, big kick there for Anne-Laure, our fly half. You know, if she get those 2 points, I think they'll put a bit of pressure on the Saskatchewan to come back.
8 minutes left in this game, so Saskatchewan has the time to have the comeback, but they've got to, be sharpish about getting that ball down to the other end, because Quebec has had the majority of the play in the second half.
I mean, the danger in those situations is the players go into their shelf and not playing, the game they've practiced or the training they've done around the game. So, let's hope that both teams actually keep playing rugby and one not focus too much on scoring, because that's often by overcommitting create a lot of enforced error, and the other one keep playing.
So Quebec taking the lead with that conversion. Who got that kick now?
Anne-Laure fly off.
Oh, yeah.
Anne-Laure Harvey.
And Laurence Harvey. So she has just kicked her team into the lead. And so now the question is, do you shrink into your shell or do you continue to play scoring rugby here and try and increase your lead?
That's why it's part of, high performance sport or elite sport. That's when you recognize athletes capable of carry on their emotions and keeping themselves in the zone to play. And it seems like Quebec at the moment just decided to keep playing. They just take that ball back into contact. Again, another rug there, but spaces again. Then the gaps start to openings. Vic, our scrum half, just there, done a good job.
Yeah, if you were a team that was going to try and sit on a lead, you'd be intent on kicking it down on the other end and trying to pin Saskatchewan down. This is a team that wants to keep the ball in hand, and they're playing the clock a bit too. They want to eat up some time.
It's always, a good option, offensive rugby in those situations. Is, the more you carry the ball, it's less ball for the opposition, less opportunity to score. So, as long as you can wind down the clock that way, and there's an opportunity to win the ball back, they did it. And referee yet not carrying your weight, flopping down. Or
Sarah Anderson went to contact there, and Saskatchewan getting the penalty. Boy, I don't know about these rushed kicks to touch. I guess Saskatchewan is aware of the clock running down, so they just want to have a quick line out and get that ball moving again.
Yeah, I think they're exactly in that brand. They want to get the ball in hands and keep putting the pressure.
Do you see the scrum half throwing the ball in much these days? I think that's the first time I've seen that.
It's a bit old-fashioned in my days,
Yeah.
I don't think we haven't seen that since probably early 80s or something like that. But
so Folk throwing in the flanker acting Hepner as the scrum half in that situation. Quebec stealing that ball, but a forward pass ending their foray, and so it'll be scrum time for Saskatchewan with the put in.
Yeah, the two Quebec forward there. I think just interexchange the ball in a bit of an awkward position, not supporting from depth, and I think they had to, unfortunately, put the ball back into play and to create that off, that knock on or
It was a forward pass.
forward pass. Yeah, sorry.
Big early drive from Saskatchewan there before the ball was in. Jones not saying anything about it now. Dropping back is number 8, Gabby Sent.
Good carry there by the number 8.
She's managed to get that ball back. And that's Mianda Anglo. And that's another, boy, there's a lot of sisters on this team. That's another set of sisters for Saskatchewan. I'm going to have to dig into this deeper. That's going to be some kind of a record for 2 provincial teams. Driving up the middle.
Good pressure still brought by Quebec there. They managed to get themselves reorganized really quickly in defense and play on the front foot and meet the attack early.
You can hear the urgency of the fans now. The Quebec under-16 women's team just cheering on their older mates to stop the Saskatchewan attack, and everyone aware that the clock is running thin with just 4 minutes now. Saskatchewan trying to maybe get an unforced error off of Quebec by kicking it, but Quebec handling that pressure easily, driving up that far right wing, and now just snapping it back and going up the blind side.
Keeping control of the ball is what it's going to be about. A few minutes to play, and I think it's better to play. And then they got the initiative of the play, and also they win the penalty. Putting other team under pressure on the back foot will force those those little penalties in their favor.
At the conclusion of this match, we'll be stopping this particular stream, and you'll have to reset your page that you're watching this game on close to kickoff time. As we're using the new YouTube streaming service, we have to put in a new YouTube player for every live game. So, folks, if you're planning to watch the next game, which is also going to feature Quebec and Ontario 1, which is going to be a dandy amongst the under-18 boys, men, don't call them. I see these guys hulking around. They're your size at 18, Laurent, and it's Florent, and it's some big lads. As Quebec may be breaking through for another score, and now the drop ball betraying that intent. But this might be a time when they give away a penalty. As Saskatchewan gives away, and they have. Oh no, it was just a knock on.
Yeah, coming back to the first knock-on of Anne-Laurence Harvey.
So it'll be Saskatchewan put it. But, if Saskatchewan gives away a penalty now, I would think you'd take the points, wouldn't you, just to close the door on the match?
That'll be the idea, I suppose. I hope, they'll have that sharpness of sometimes you see in the fire of the action, if we can call it, the decision-making just drop.
And it
could have come there.
Oh, I thought I heard. It was a final whistle, I think, on another field that I heard. I thought I heard a final whistle. No? Okay, so in my old age, I'm starting to hear things. So important scrum here for Saskatchewan, as a win is some 80 meters away for them. Big backward drive by Quebec, and Saskatchewan will begin their march down the field in the shadow of their own posts.
And here is a penalty coming for holding on to the ball. So great opportunity here for
this is it.
Harvey. I think that's it. Your scenario came through.
Yeah, that's right. And they are gonna. He has indicated they'll go for posts because, they'll require at least to try to tie it at this point. Right now, it was a 2-point margin, and a penalty kick might have won it for Saskatchewan. Could they have gotten down the other end? But I think you'll also find this is the last play of the game as we're approaching 30 minutes. This will be a fine way for Quebec to finish out this tight contest, and a lot of people around the park taking this game in with some interest. And the flags go up, pushing the score to 20-15. Still time left, says Jones.
The girls got to keep their concentration there. The Quebec girls can't let it slip away. They've got to keep playing their rugby. And on the first session, Saskatchewan's got to have to get the ball back in hand. So they should take the option of kicking towards their forwards and try to probably chase. And he looks, actually, they're going to make me lie about it. Yeah, went the other way.
Short little 10-meter grubber instead. But now for Quebec, it's probably about just getting that ball into touch because there can't be much time. The flag has gone up. And that is full time. Quebec coming from behind to win this game 20-15. And you must be very pleased to see that kind of presence of mind and composure by that young Quebec team.
Yeah, I think the second half they show, we were talking about using that space a little bit more. They still can do it more, but I think the 2 or 3 times they use it, they show they had the pace and they show they can handling that ball down the line and make sure the players are in position to score. I think, they've got to take that game again to the next game and try to look at it and say, yeah, we're strong enough forward, we can spin the ball down the line, let's use our ability to do that and try to, as the competition progress now for them, I think they've got to be more aware of that and of that game plan.
So that will do it from the Gerald McGavin Rugby Pavilion for now. We'll be back at 1:30 for our next game, which is Quebec versus Ontario 1. Hopefully we'll get Florent to grab a mic for that one as well, or I don't know if you have obligations.
I'll be there.
But
no, I've just my
great.
job is done in advance. Obviously, when it comes to tournaments, I'm just there as an observer and obviously try to help the coaches mainly rather than the players and try to tips them on probably more attitude and observational things they can do and trying to put a perspective and a bigger picture of what they do rather than just focus on their game.
All right, great stuff. Great to have you chatting with us, and we'll be back with more action in about 20 minutes.